Hi, Donna.
Hi. I'm having a dinner at home.
Hey, congratulations. We're missing him at coffee.
What kind of instruction? Don't do anything?
No, I don't have time for that.
Oh.
Some exercises.
Oh,
Just not looking out early enough.
Oh, we're missing him.
I think there was.
Is he gonna make it? Do you think he's gonna come down?
Oh, I think so.
Oh, I hope so.
Is he going to PT and all?
There's one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Bush.
He's got other fans.
Morning. Well, the guys always say, be sure if you happen to see him, tell him hi.
Family. Being stirred. Yeah.
I'm gonna sit as close to you as I can at the other table.
Come on in, Troy.
Good. That's good fun.
I'm saying, might as well have a pastry while you're here. All right.
Maybe you have to get up.
Where do we not keep wrapping up on? First, you wrap it up on the
We're gonna advertise this. He didn't advertise. Yeah, he's not doing
If you came to the doctor, you got to see it because you had a picture on the wall. Otherwise,
Sorry, yesterday too.
There you go.
We're ready.
All right.
I like her new hairdo.
Well, it is 9
I
o'clock,
like that.
and we're going to get started. I want to welcome you all to our debut of Morning Brew with Dr. Bush. Good morning, morning. We're very glad that you were able to join us this morning. We're very grateful to Dr. Bush for carving out some time in his busy schedule to do a little bit of health outreach. I know he's passionate about getting out in the community and letting people know about some health topics. We're grateful for you to be here, and we're grateful to him for carving out some time. So please keep in mind that while Dr. Bush is going to talk about some general health topics, he'll take some questions that are related to the topic, but as far as individual health concerns and that sort of thing, we're not going to go there. That's a privacy thing, and so he'll answer some questions that pertain to the topic only. So please keep that in mind. We want to welcome our audience on Facebook Live. We want to reach out to as many people as we possibly can, and we invite you to help us spread the word about these morning brews that we're going to have. We're targeting the third Wednesday of each month. So if you can help us spread the word on that, Nicole's going to have a survey for you to fill out if you'd like to have some input on some health topics that you'd like to hear about. We'll work on maybe putting some of that together. So we'll also announce on our Facebook page what the future topics are going to be, and then you all probably seen our outdoor billboard. So we'll try to keep people informed as to what the next topics are going to be. So Dr. Bush joined us back in 2008. He served on the medical staff for 10 years at Kimball Health Services. That was until 2018. Then he came back again in 2022. And so that's a total of 12.5 years of service. He's been our medical director since September of 2023. So if you haven't already done so, please grab some coffee, Danish and a donut, and join me in welcoming Dr. Bush.
Thank you. Okay, so I voted for this to be called the Dr. Bush Said So Show. That is one vote. So, Bush said. So we're going to talk about walking, and that seems like a pretty basic topic that everybody knows what they need to know about. But it is it's probably one of the things that will keep you out of mountains. It is accessible to everyone because mobility equals longevity. You have to maintain mobility if you want to get into longevity. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I think the first thing I want to do is just kind of review some basic anatomy. As you enter our clinic, there's a large plate from anatomy class in 1918 that my mother gave me for medical school graduation. I donated it here. There's a nice picture on the left of all the nerves, and on the right our venous and arterial systems. So our arterial system, the high pressure system, the heart is the main pump for that. That's what we measure your blood pressure for. And then you have the venous system, which is a low pressure system. So the blood flows through the arterial system down into the capillaries, where a single blood cell is going through that capillary, exchanging oxygen and metabolites and getting into the venous system. Once it gets into the venous system, the mechanism by which that blood gets back to your heart is through valves. So your muscles have to contract to squeeze the vein, to push the blood forward, and a back valve catches it and keeps it going. As we age, we can get those veins in our legs because those valves kind of leak, and by gravity, it just forces blood to stay in our veins. If we walk more, we can mitigate that risk because we keep those muscles and those venous walls robust, and so the valves can function. So the main point of that is that there are two pumps in our system, the heart and our muscles. And so our leg muscles are one of the main venous pumps. And moving those leg muscles moves a lot of volume of blood from our lower extremities into our floor. It exchanges a lot of metabolites. So when we're sedentary, especially when we're sedentary sitting like we are here at 90 degrees, that blood pools in our lower extremities. Our metabolism is still occurring. Waste products are still being created, but they're pooling because the blood is not circulating. Walking helps that circulation. All right. Any questions on that basic anatomy? Now, I am going to walk out there and look at that picture. It's really quite reviewed. Okay. So, walking, the most successful form of exercise. Obviously, you don't need any equipment for it. It is dangerous in the winter in Kimberley to walk in the city. Probably one of the most dangerous cities in America. But we have an orthopedist. Take it up. And we keep our sidewalk. I think it's one of the only sidewalks in the city that's consistently kept clear during snowstorms. And 4 laps around this facility is normal. So you can always come here. You can dress appropriately. There's no bad roads. There's bad roads. So get out there and walk as much as you can. Use our facility if you must. The grocery store is also an option. Just a real quick sort of geography lesson. From Davenport on 6th Street down to the mobile home park is 1.5 miles. So back and forth across the city, basically, is 3 miles. You can do that on Main Street and stop at the Sugar Shack. Basically, our city is 3 miles side to side. We have the tracks, the dog park, and the track around that. I think that the big one is almost a mile, and there's some smaller ones. So that's a really nice resource to have. Hard to navigate with a walk. There are some kind of larger apple-sized rocks there, so this takes some spot. Let's see. No equipment necessary unless we need some sort of assist device like we're doing. That is something that I hear in my office. It limits a lot of people. People don't want to get on a walk because they don't want to use the assist device, whether it's a cane or a walker, because there's stigma associated with that. There's the acknowledgement that there is some disability. And I hear that, but I think that if we can move past that, the benefits of using those tools in order to mobilize and still create a more higher quality, longer life. So, just before the meeting here, I googled stylish walkers. And there are actually some pretty cool walkers. So, nonetheless, we'll do that a little bit. All right, so let's talk numbers. How much is enough? General recommendation: 150 minutes per week of moderate activity. So, 30 minutes per day of walking, even a little bit more. Anything helps. These are numbers that have been in studies, guidelines have been developed around these. So these are just generalizations. It's not necessarily goals you have to meet or stick to. any amount of walking is going to help reduce walking here to 10,000 steps. That was created in 1965, along with with no source of evidence whatsoever. 10,000 is an impressive number in Japanese culture, and so that was just turns out the evidence supports that 8,000 to 12,000 steps. It's really 8,000 offering the human share of the benefit. That is a true guideline that's now that it's fixed. It's just kind of created out of thin air as a self-problem. Nonetheless, 10,000 steps is, there's about 2,000 to 3,500 steps a mile. So that's about 5 miles. If you're walking 5 miles a day, 30 minutes, that's years. So these numbers don't record, right? What I want you to hear is, when we're talking about these 30 minutes, you're going to see this a couple times, 30 minutes a day of walking. That study was done with interval walking. So you're walking at a normal pace for 5 minutes, and then you're briskly walking for 5 minutes. And you're walking at a normal pace, and then briskly walking for 5 minutes. That's intervals. Getting your heart rate up, you're allowing it to recover, you're up, allowing it to recover. That really is the basis of cardiac rehab, cardiopulmonary rehab. So in 30 minutes of walking, they're getting the most benefits, and all the studies are referencing that type of walking. You don't have to do that type of walking. Any walking will do, but when you see these numbers and you're like, God, what is that math doesn't work, there's a number of different studies that are going to reference you. So if you have any questions and things aren't making sense, please ask. Any questions on this? Okay, so what does it do? What have we proven? We still believe in science. What does walking do? We know that it lowers blood pressure and improves cholesterol. And again, that's because we are helping our heart pump by lessening the work it has to do by simply walking and adding that accessory pump of our legs. As that pump has two sides to it, it works much better than just sitting and having one side trying to pump through the whole system. There's just a number of reduces heart risk of 19 to 30%. And interestingly enough, the postmenopausal women, that was those women are 30 to 35% rating threshold, lowers heart attacks essentially. Postmenopausal women take 35%. Why women? Well, they tend to be more social. And when they walk in groups and they talk, and men tend to be very independent in their heads. And that social interaction is healthy. That's why the epidemic of male loneliness is real. So, I don't know if I'm going to, well, anyway, we get walking groups together. Men should walk in groups, and we probably get that same benefit, but it has only been proven in studies. Joint going up. So this is something I hear a lot. You've got joint pain, you've got arthritis, it hurts you. Paradoxically, pushing through that, taking the NSAIDs or whatever pain medications you need to mitigate to be able to walk, that movement is going to create mechanisms in your body that create lubrication and allow those joints to function normally. If they just sit and are flexed, they atrophy. The lubrication is not formed. You get bone on bone scraping. So, and this doesn't occur overnight. I mean, this is a habit that needs to be formed, and it's a daily exercise that needs to be undertaken in order to get benefit. It's not like taking a pill, and with some pills like Angles, for example, it's an immediate benefit. This walking is a lifestyle. That's really what we're talking about. It's adopting a walking lifestyle. If you look at all the blue zones, you've heard of those, where they have a large number of people living over the age of 100. These are all over the world. The diets are incredibly diverse. They are whole foods, but they are incredibly diverse. But one of the main things with every one of those cultures have in common is that they basically walk. There are no cars in those cultures. They walk everywhere. So it's difficult here. Our environment is built for automobiles, so we have to make an effort to do that. But if we are able to walk to the grocery store, we need something to carry our stuff. And so that may be something we can use to support ourselves walking and won't look so much like a walker, rather we're just going to the groceries and need something to carry. All right, and then bone density. Obviously, gravity, moving around in a pool is great. I hope someday we get in some of the pool. But walking against gravity and holding that body weight improves bone density. Hands down, absolutely. So the benefits are myriad and we continue to be improvement. All right, brain and mood, release endorphins, reduces anxiety and depression. You all have experienced this. If you are active, things are happening, the body wants to be active, benefit comes from it. Including increasing and reducing dementia risk for groups. That's huge. I think obviously Alzheimer's is one of the major, 85% of dementia is Alzheimer's. There's a lot of other sorts of dementia. Lewy body, associated with Parkinson's, vascular dementia. And I think most of this dementia risk that they're talking about here is vascular dementia. Because again, walking, it eliminates, it improves circulation such that we eliminate waste products and we keep our mitochondria functioning well. The mitochondrial dysfunction is one of the main drivers of senescence and cell death. And walking simply reduces that. And so, whatever mechanism we end up coming up with dementia, we do know that regardless, walking really improves. All right, leave metabolism. Okay, 30 minutes burns 150 calories. You don't need to really worry about calories. I don't really like, we don't need to worry about weight loss. So I think in this setting, we're not really worried about weight loss, but rather protein intake, maintaining muscle mass, maintaining flexibility and mobility. Regardless of weight, if you can do all those things, that's going to go well for you overall. So, again, walking especially that improves blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. This is particularly beneficial, or you get the most benefit, if you walk after meals. So let's go back. We're talking about this 10,000 steps a day, 150 minutes per week, etc. The best thing you can do is do this intermittently throughout the day, especially after eating. If you want to do all 10,000 steps at once, at night when you get home from work, that's great. That's a fine way to do it. But you get more benefit if you do it intermittently throughout the day, and in particular, just after eating. And that is because if you eat and you start being physically active, that will shift the metabolism path to store that glucose and that energy, those energy molecules in your muscle, instead of going straight to abdominal fat storage. If you eat and sit, it goes to your gut. Because your muscles aren't active, they're not calling for anything, it's just shuttling that metabolism out. So walking after every meal, even for 10 minutes, does a lot to majorly shift the physiology. So that's that improved blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. Hence the reduction in type 2 diabetes. And this is something that we are seeing every day. I'm diagnosing someone else with this is an epidemic. So mitigate that a little bit, seems a lot of solution. Pretty standard. I mean, if you're walking and you're getting fatigued and you're wearing yourself out, you're going to sleep better. Certainly, if I sit and do nothing, I fall asleep. So staying active because coffee good helps. Also, social benefits, as we talked. Builds community and reduces loneliness, mostly for women, and you've got to step that up, certainly. And walking groups. And I hope something comes out of this. I'm always walking around. I walk in the morning, I walk at lunch, and I walk in the evening. There's not a lot of walking going on when I'm out there, so I think we certainly could improve that. All right, body defects. Again, this is not a one and done, it's a habit, it's a lifestyle. After a week, you see some moving energy boost a month, then you're going to start getting some physiological benefits, and then beyond that, some major noticeable subjective, objective benefits. So, that's good. So what are we going to do to walk safely? You certainly want to mitigate your risk of falling. You do not want to fall and break and hit. So, And that is a main concern, but I think it often will discourage people from even getting out and doing it. And I think that the risks of walking, let me say, the benefits of walking far outweigh the risks, but we have to be cognizant of taking measures to mitigate falls, and that may necessitate a cane or a walker. And there are some pretty robust four-wheel walkers with brakes and seats and bags that can traverse a lot of different terrains. And I think, spending a few $100 on that is worth its weight in gold, because if it gets you out the door and gets you walking safely, where you can walk, sit, rest, wherever you're not looking for a bench, it's all self-contained. That's a really good thing. And if you don't need that, by all means, keep walking as much as you can to stay off that. Walking in safe areas, again, it's mainly the streets here. The sidewalks are pretty rough and difficult to navigate. Let's see, make a habit, pair with the daily routine, pretty standard stuff. I think it would be great if we got together and got some walking groups together. Happy to join you guys and send them to take the initiative. What's my advice? It's safe, do it daily. You talk to me, go ahead and do it. And it works for all kinds of conditions. It's a benefit. During 1,000 miles, it gives you a single step. Stay consistent. It's a lifestyle change. It's a habit. It takes, I think, 21 days. I can't remember. I was on it's too long ago, but that will be a good one to reference to establish a new habit, because this is something that needs to be done daily. And it will keep you out of my office. It'll keep your medicine count low, and it will keep you coming into my office yearly for checks, reaffirmation that your labs are good, and you're doing well, and that's the way I want to see it. So I think that may be it. Questions, comments?
I go to the gym an hour a day about 3 times a week, and then I do yoga also. Should I be walking on top of that?
What are you doing in the gym?
Weights, upper and lower body, and then I walk in between, but it's not brisk walking, but you walk before.
Yeah, I think soon doing something more cardiovascular. Certainly that yoga is, I don't know how hard the yoga is, but sometimes yoga can be harder. But doing that sort of interval walking, or just doing intervals, period, on the bike, on the treadmill, where you're getting your heart rate up and allowing you to recover, just doing that for 15 or 20 minutes would be a good addition to this road. But obviously it's very well. Normally you're in good shape, so whatever you do. What else?
So let's say you have leg, foot, or whatever problem. So you're in walking and so forth. Is a bike a good supplement for that, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Lower impact, still flexes the leg muscles and gets that stuff. Not as much of the osteoporosis benefit, because you're not getting as much weight bearing activity, but certainly very close. Rowers are also an option.
I battle with diabetes, and I can tell the difference when I don't get out for a walk
Yes.
and I hold the And I sometimes don't feel like walking, sometimes the weather is bad, but you have to make it a point to be faithful
I love that.
to walking.
That's right. No bad weather, just bad clothes. So, I love that philosophy. What else? I would like to hear what people would like to hear on these things, if this was beneficial, if this is, I came up with some pretty morbid topics initially, and Nicole kind of brought me down, changed the title, made it more upbeat, which was appreciated, but, there are some serious things that we can talk about, there's lots of questions that can be answered. I certainly have the answer.
I have a survey form,
Oh, perfect.
so.
Any other questions for Dr. Bush?
I got a question for you,
Uh-oh.
or maybe you, I don't know. So we're looking at potential Medicaid cuts that we're talking about. Have you talked at all about how that might affect the hospital bottom line?
We've had some discussions internally. Cassie Gasling is our CEO. She could speak much more effectively about that than I could. Cassie, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, we're watching it close. I mean, we don't get a lot of Medicaid money as it is right now. What the state of Nebraska has actually done is try to increase that Medicaid money. So really what the cut is gonna do is gonna take that increase we thought we would get away. It won't necessarily be as much of a cut to what we're already getting. There will be some workforce effects that are gonna be part of the bill, it sounds like, where there won't be as many people eligible for Medicaid and they will be forced to either find a job with insurance or prove that they are not able to work to stay on Medicaid. So we're just watching it closely and see. There was a lot of information that came out yesterday that was not helpful to the state of Nebraska's program they're trying to get through. So we're just closely watching and trying to advocate all we can we're one of 4 states in the whole United States that doesn't have a Medicaid direct payment program, which Nebraska's a little bit behind, and they got their application in, but a little bit late with the change of administration. So we're just watching to see what's gonna happen.
All right, anything else? Dr. Bush, go ahead.
I'll always say one thing, because we were just at the conference, the Nebraska Rural Health Conference. And rural health hospitals, pre-crisis hospitals like this are closing in drills all over the United States, especially in Nebraska. Oshkosh may be on the blocks at least. And what I found out was that we here, Cassie and her team, are doing extremely well. This is a unique beacon of a successful critical access hospital, especially with challenges. So that was really nice to hear, and I want you guys to know that this is a unique thing that happens.
Why
Thank you to the
why
board.
is this different than other ones that are nice
Management getting the right services, getting the right people, getting the right staff, being vigilant about getting paid what they're owed. So we
Does it cost a lot of money for a dialysis equipment?
yes. Yeah, those are difficult, those dialysis centers, like nursing homes, are under a tremendous amount of regulations and very difficult.
What about cancer treatments? Moving on, we were talking about is that still on the horizon?
So originally, we had Dr. Bjorling that would come and help do our cancer treatments, and since then, we don't have a oncologist to work with at the moment to even kind of get that program up and running. If we could partner with someone, it'd be more of a future endeavor, but you have to have special nurses that are chemo trained, so we just have to get there. But it starts with getting an oncologist that can come oversee us first.
So, and we're active. We've got a tremendous group of specialists for all these groups. We've got nephrologists we're trying to get. So, and those are all the things that allow you guys to save and get carried. So that's an ongoing process.
Dr. Bush, again, thank you for all of your time.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause. Let's not neglect to mention, with an announcement, we're going to expand our hours for the dining room here. So we're going to be Monday through Friday and offering breakfast and lunches, heat up, so excuse me, yes. So yeah, we've been at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a while, at lunch only, we're going to expand that. So lunch and breakfast, Monday through Friday.
Starting July 1st, right?
Starting
July 1st.
Thank you, Troy.
Yep, July 1st.
We'll show up tomorrow. I think we're going to start breakfast at 7 o'clock.
Yep, 7 to 9 for breakfast, and then 11 to 1 for lunch, just like we have been. Fried rice today.
Please fill out your surveys and watch as we report announcements on future topics.
Yep.
Thank you all for coming.
Where's the nurse?